Hi everyone, my name is Natalie Bedore, and the issue I will be presenting on today is censorship and its threat to libraries. First, I will give an overview of this topic before diving into current approaches and examining if they are effective or not. Since their creation, libraries have strived to serve the public with great knowledge and integrity. However, certain issues have plagued these institutions by challenging their key values. For instance, censorship has always been a troublesome threat to libraries across the country. Censorship occurs when certain materials are removed or kept hidden from public access. It involves actions that considerably restrict free access to information. This often happens when someone finds the material offensive and unsuitable for others to view. Not only does this threaten core values like intellectual freedom, but it also puts library staff in a difficult position. Do managers remove the offending item if there are several complaints? What if that same item holds great importance and value to someone else? Censorship is a controversial subject that gives rise to powerful emotions and debates. Between 2000 and 2009, nearly 6,000 challenges to library items were reported. It is often the case that parents want to safeguard their children and protect them from materials they deem as harmful or offensive. However, research cannot anticipate what will upset someone. This is where censorship becomes a tricky topic. What greatly offends someone may be completely fine to someone else. While it is understandable that parents want to protect their children, libraries have always been staunch advocates against censorship. According to the Professional Code of the Australian Library and Information Association, all professional librarians must avoid censorship at all times. They should be committed to intellectual freedom and the free flow of ideas. Intellectual freedom is an important concept to understand. It is essentially the right for individuals to seek and obtain information without restriction. Many libraries protect this right and fight against the strict rules of censorship. Librarians are there to provide information and encourage patrons to expand their minds, not hinder what they can access based on who finds it offensive. There is no easy solution to this issue. There will always be people out there who take offense to certain materials. The American Library Association states, as with any public service, libraries receive complaints. One of our responsibilities is to listen in a respectful and fair manner. The key to successfully handling these complaints is to be sure the library staff and the governing authorities are all knowledgeable about the complaint procedures and their implementation. The Library Bill of Rights is a great reference to refer to in this case. This is an article of statements that are not open to interpretation. They describe the basic principles that all libraries should employ. Library collections are often questioned and challenged when it comes to minors. The American Library Association's principles protect the right of minors to access data, games, and other content in all formats. Essentially, the Library Bill of Rights indicates that the right to use the library includes having unrestricted access to all the materials and services it has to offer. Only parents have the right to restrict what their children, and only their children, access. Parents who do not want their children looking at certain library items should advise them not to do so. Ultimately, librarians cannot assume the role of a parent. They support and trust that parents will guide and monitor what their children are viewing. In addition, librarians have turned to the Freedom to Read Foundation to help fight against censorship. Asado states that the Freedom to Read Foundation provides grants to individual librarians fighting local intellectual freedom battles. This foundation was established in 1969 to help defend librarians and their fight to keep all materials available to the public. It also promotes and preserves the First Amendment, which states that all individuals have the right to express their ideas and free speech without interference from the government. They are also allowed to listen and read about the ideas of others. This foundation protects librarians and encourages them to uphold First Amendment rights in the face of adversity. I think it is great how librarians have a huge support system to fall back on in case they ever find themselves in troublesome positions. It is important that all librarians have an unwavering policy to protect intellectual freedom. Another current approach to censorship can be taken by school librarians. School librarians should strive to have collections that represent all types of people and views. They should not let their personal views dictate what they can and cannot order. Cooper states many librarians are guilty of self-censorship, choosing not to purchase books because the material within them makes him or her uncomfortable or out of fear that certain books may be controversial. No matter how tempting, school librarians must seek to suppress such discomforts and fears. Students, like other individuals, have the right to access information to make their own decisions about the appropriateness and ideas. This is extremely important, especially for middle school students who are becoming increasingly independent. Lund states when students make choices about their reading, they are engaging in decisions that will contribute to self-efficiency as well as ones that will facilitate their independence as readers. Kids become more engaged when they make decisions for themselves. They should have the freedom to choose what they want to read. It is important to note that censorship often arises when parents do not trust their teenagers and get to make the right choices. Gallo states whether it comes from fear of different ideas or from a need for power over others, most challenges to books used in schools and provided in libraries come from individuals and groups that do not want young people to make decisions for themselves. The bottom line here is that they do not want these kids to open their mind to new and diverse possibilities. When addressing this issue, I believe managers should not make changes to their current collections. As previously stated, it is not their job to babysit children or act like parental figures. Lack of access can be harmful to minors. It restricts their ability to explore and grow on their own. Library figures have an obligation to ensure that everyone in the community has equal access to all resources the library has to offer. One important managerial function is leading. According to Moran, Stewart, and Warner, leading involves creating a shared culture and values within an organization, communicating goals to its employees, and motivating people at all levels. Managers need to set standards and efficiently communicate issues that arise at the library. To deal with censorship concerns, managers should train their staff to be aware of all procedures so they can successfully pass them on to patrons. Jewell advises that managers should call all professional staff to a meeting. When preparing to challenge censorship, managers should inform staff of basic policies and ensure they understand. The two references Jewell notes as crucial are the Library Bill of Rights and the ALA's Freedom to Read Foundation. Having specific procedures in place are vital to any library. This allows them protection and the ability to handle sensitive issues with respect and assurance. Staff also needs to support one another if issues do arise. Tigner-Racine states that staff should be prepared to support colleagues who may be going through challenges to materials by listening and being present at open meetings. They can also turn to sympathetic colleagues with experience in this matter to share and learn what to do when items are challenged. Overall, managers should encourage a strong sense of teamwork and never ban or get rid of books. Doing so simply violates the very thing that libraries stand for, the freedom to have full access to all materials. When addressing this issue, I believe managers should not make changes to their current collections. As previously stated, it is not their job to babysit children or act like parental figures. Lack of access can be harmful to minors. It restricts their ability to explore and grow on their own. Library figures have an obligation to ensure that everyone in the community has equal access to all resources the library has to offer. One important managerial function is leading. According to Moran, Stewart, and Warner, leading involves creating a shared culture and values within an organization, communicating goals to its employees, and motivating people at all levels. Managers need to set standards and efficiently communicate issues that arise at the library. To deal with censorship concerns, managers should train their staff to be aware of library procedures so they could successfully pass them on to patrons. Jewell advises that managers should call all professional staff to a meeting. When preparing to challenge censorship, managers should inform staff of basic policies and ensure they understand. The two references Jewell notes as crucial are the Library Bill of Rights and the ALA's Freedom to Read Foundation. Having specific procedures in place are vital to any library. This allows them protection and the ability to handle sensitive issues with respect and assurance. Staff also needs to support one another if issues do arise. Tigner-Racine states that staff should be prepared to support colleagues who may be going through challenges to materials by listening and being present at open meetings. They can also turn to sympathetic colleagues with experience in this matter to share and learn what to do when items are challenged. Overall, managers should encourage a strong sense of teamwork and never ban or get rid of books. Doing so simply violates the very thing libraries stand for, the freedom to have full access to all materials. I believe these current approaches are very effective. Librarians need to stand by their policies. While they may face backlash from angry patrons, these procedures are put in place for a reason. They protect everything the library stands for, starting with intellectual freedom. This is especially crucial in school libraries, where parents often challenge materials they find offensive. No matter what type of library, its main job is to serve its community, and that cannot happen if materials are being cut from their access. Librarians should also stand by their policies and beliefs. Research has indicated that many librarians are often wary of controversy and tend to select books that would not lead to grave disputes. This is doing a great disservice to everyone in the community. Librarians should not be basing their decisions to purchase books on whether or not materials could potentially offend someone. I recommend that libraries keep offering open access to all their materials and to not back down when someone challenges something in their collection. To sum up, censorship is a major issue that continues to threaten libraries across the country. While patrons may want certain items banned, it is a library's duty to provide free and open access to all of its materials. Censorship violates intellectual freedom, which is a concept libraries pride themselves on. Librarians have taken great measures to protect this right, such as implementing strong policies and turning to the Freedom to Read Foundation for support. They should proudly stand by their collections and never back down when their beloved materials are threatened. I have here some discussion questions that I would like you to think about. What are your thoughts on censorship? Do you agree with the notion to fight it? As a library manager, how would you go about picking out materials for your collection? I hope you enjoyed my presentation. Here are my references and thanks so much for watching.